Board of Assessors meeting of October 3rd. It is 5 o'clock on the nose. All right, any public comment? I don't hear any. We have some minutes to approve. I'm going to steal those from you.
Yep.
From the September 19th meeting, and I believe, if memory serves me correct, it was just
Good reading.
John and myself. I'm going to give the extra copies back to you, and we'll take seconds to look at this. Probably good if I put my glasses on. I'm supposed to.
Well, I move that we approve the minutes as written.
Even though you weren't here?
Well, I am going to abstain, but
Well, you can make the motion. Do you want to second his motion, John?
Sure, I'll second that motion.
Okay, do we have any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Excellent. Motion approved, minutes approved. All right, I'm gonna initial mine. You can initial that.
Okay.
Can't sign it either.
I
There,
can
I can sign it.
I can initial it. Okay, we have some monthly reports,
That means anyway.
I believe, that we need to sign for motor vehicle and boat. Is that correct?
that is correct. I've added a few other documents, so we'll just take them as they're and appear in the folder.
Okay, these are the...
This is a commitment to collect a rollback tax on the Freitas property.
Greatest.
Freitas.
It's a good try. Give you A for effort. You know what, I'll just, let me keep them all together so we don't get it all.
Where did you guys meet this last meeting?
Up here.
They hadn't kicked you out?
They-
Wanted to for this meeting.
No, they attempted to, that's all been resolved. We're welcome with open arms. Jamie loves us here.
Maybe you'd ask her to put the heat on.
Well, I mean, we can't get everything. It is October, come on, you're in New England.
I'm wearing layers, but
We have a warrant for motor vehicle excise tax commitments.
These are all motor vehicles, correct? Yep.
Yes.
Where did you sign these, John, or did you?
You don't, those just go underneath, that's just the backup, I believe. So you know what you're signing off on.
you got a Sharpie there, John?
No, it's good though, isn't it?
Pretty robust.
Robusto.
Did you get that from Zenith too? High quality operation over there, huh?
Free pens, free shirts, a hat, the hat.
Hat, shirt, I mean Under Armour shirts too.
No, I
None
got
of
these
this.
pens myself.
Well, I guess you can't get everything for free, right?
Let's see, I think we need some signatures on the back of this.
Well, mine's there.
Oh yeah, I missed it.
And John did too, Snowfield. John missed
And
that
John
one too.
missed that one as well.
Can sign that.
Build inverted sign here.
Hey, that is a pretty good looking pen. That looks like a quilt. Right? Looks like it was
Dip it in.
used by the
ink.
Puritans. My daughter is studying in school right now.
Will they go on field trips, being this close to Plymouth?
No, why would you go on a field trip to Plymouth when you live next door, right? Only people from, like up in Ashby Dakota.
That'd be too far. It's funny, I have company coming in for my daughter's wedding and lingering after the wedding. My brother and sister, actually, and
They want to go to Plymouth.
they want to go to Plymouth.
They're coming a little early. There's going to be, the big celebration is next year.
Yeah, I'll have to grab them. This
400.
First time in 10 years, so I'm down get them back. But it's interesting. I thought I'd offer to show them Boston. Oh, no, we want to go to Plymouth. Okay, sure.
Well, because that rock is pretty inspiring when you see it.
No, it's the village, which I have to admit, I think is one of the top tourist attractions. One that's been the most popular when I have out of state, out of country guests. Some more.
And we get more. Oh.
Payday.
These are the votes. Gold.
It's amazing in this day and age how much paper we still produce.
Well, it's two schools of thought. One is technology saves us from paper, or technology just produces more paper.
Well, I'd say the latter is
I
the
think
case.
yes, that's the thing. It's that much easier. Just hit a button and print it out. And then when it's all signed, you scan it back in. Yeah, the people up in Maine who have tree farms like it.
I think though that I read somewhere that paper use is down considering the volume of information that is stored has gone up exponentially. 90% of new information is not stored on paper. So that,
Yeah.
you know, paper usage may be up a little bit, but considering the amount of information that is
Proportionally, yeah, all
Yeah,
this information, yeah.
it's doing this, you know.
So increasingly,
But I don't believe anything I read, so I'm just reporting that. I don't actually believe that though.
increasingly, I'm seeing
I believe it.
DocuSign. Are you familiar with that?
Oh yeah.
And
I'm very, yeah, it's one of the vendors that are.
Click your way through and it-
Yeah, we actually, this one's particular to the insurance industry, insurance science, same thing. Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff now is
Do
just,
this one.
Yeah, there's a push for that in mortgage closing work, where you sign a lot of documents online, and then, you know, I do a lot of closings, and of course, when
Yeah.
you sit down with me to sign the important documents, the note, the mortgage, that stuff, you then sign everything you signed electronically again, because they want an original in the
Yeah.
closing package.
who wants the original? The
The-
registry of deeds or
the
the
bank.
bank? The bank is.
Yeah, they want it all in one place.
wow.
So instead of that saving something, it's just adding more. Instead of it being signed, you know, you're signing it 3 or 4 times if it changes along the way, and then you're signing the final stuff at the closing package, so it's not multiplying the amount of data that they have to store. Because then they scan the packages and they don't retain anything but the original note. Everything else is electronic.
So what are you advocating for? Just the good old fashioned handshake? Tell the bank, I promise I'll pay you. The bank says, I promise we'll give you the house when you're done paying me. That would work out.
No, I mean, if we're gonna adhere to common law precedent, we're gonna need anything related to real estate to be in writing. You know, that predates this country, you know, of consideration and writing and all that good stuff. So I'm okay with that formality. I think it's important enough, but.
Harold, hologram closings maybe, huh?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Virtual, reach the ether.
You can be the,
But I don't see it
Yeah,
making
but-
it any easier, is my point. Technology is not adding it's not making it faster, it's not making it more efficient. It's just making it more complicated.
Closings have gotten really painful. I remember when it was maybe a dozen documents, and now it's like
Yeah.
40,
100 pages,
50.
120 pages.
most industries are like that.
I gave up
Even
my.
when you hire a new person now, right? I mean,
Oh,
I can remember, when I initially got into business, it was an application and maybe, you had to do your tax forms and
Yeah.
that was it. Now, okay, can you sign up on this? You want to make sure we disclose this. You need to know this. You need to, all of a sudden it's turned into, a dozen sheets.
we take on a new employee, it's a 2-hour carve out for
Yeah.
first day to deal with all the paperwork and.
All right, are we done signing our?
No, well, yes.
Well, we're done signing the.
Actually, I'm gonna do this under new business. I'm sorry.
Do you have any bills or invoices you need us to
We
sign for you,
do.
sir?
And I'd like to comment that we have a map maintenance bill from Cartographic Associates, so the folks that are going to deliver our GIS and probably within the next week or so. They had 3 years worth of map updates, so we have a larger bill that needs to be paid.
We should probably take a look at our budget.
I attempted to do that, and I wasn't,
They've done the services, correct? Or they're
Yes.
in the process, so we gotta pay the bill.
so I have a
for that.
feeling on that line item will be way over expended, but probably have balances
Well,
elsewhere.
yeah, we should probably take a
Yes.
look at that now, so we can,
When we contracted, we had resolved where the monies were there to pay for the work. Oh,
WB Mason wants to get paid. And this RRG outfit, man, they always wanna get paid. Do we have to
Yeah.
pay them?
sure. We also have membership, Plymouth County. Plymouth County added Norman and Linda. We haven't in the past paid dues for them.
So we're not gonna pay dues for them.
I'm suggesting.
It's the Assessors Association,
Right.
so why would a non-assessor?
They do occasionally have little one-day happenings, mini workshops.
I'm not saying
but
whether we
there's-
should stay
There's
or
no
not.
reason why they can't go anyway, whether they paid or not.
They're more likely to go than we are a lot of times.
In fact, there's a session coming up on forestry that Marina is coming down for, hosted by Plymouth County. So,
Is that the honeymoon?
no, I hope not.
Should've been real. You had a great honeymoon day trip for us. You hope not. You hope not. I'm sure he really hopes not.
Okay, we got through invoices. Thank you for all the signings.
You review the draft 2020 valuations? Do you have
So
anything?
those are still in progress. The new growth has been largely set aside. I'm waiting for RRC, checked with RRC on the personal property. They believe they'll have it in 2 weeks. I think there's some concern because I've got a number of communities that use them, and
Are they behind schedule?
they're behind schedule on all of them. I don't know if they've lost some key people, but I'm not going to hit the panic button now, but in a
Does
couple
that
of weeks.
interfere with,
Well,
last time we met,
we have a tax rate,
concerned that we were gonna
tax
be-
classification hearing for the last Monday in November.
Okay, so you've scheduled that already, you coordinated
So
that
that's a
with,
month and a half out, yes.
all right, so,
I'll give you the exact date.
I can't wait to go to that
and be on the other side.
and be on the other side.
I think we may let you deliver the presentation. You can really get into it. How's that sound? Carl, you don't mind?
I think
Aaron
Aaron
delivers the
I think
presentation, do you?
Aaron and or John could do it at this point. So
Do it high
Monday,
energy.
You guys could do it together. You can kind of like, you can start the opening and then turn it over to John at one point. He can come back to you and,
Laurel and
Mon-
Hardy.
Monday, November 25th.
Monday, November.
That's the Monday before Thanksgiving.
I'm a little more familiar with the Abbott and Costello stuff than the Laurel and Hardy was kind
Well,
of.
you know what the good news is? You
Beyond
guys
my
have like
reach.
7 weeks to work it out. I'm sure you'll come up with something, so.
So I've actually been working on the interim revaluation piece of this today. And I've got another iteration. We started out at 88% assessment level. In the past, we've always targeted assessments at around 95%. With the rate changes, land and building rate changes that I entered into the system, we're up to 92%. I'm going to have to really need to push those probably a couple more percent. I looked at 89 sales. 89 sales, even with the first lift of value, are coming in at 89%. So the market trajectory is still on the climb.
Yep.
If we don't push the values up a little bit more, we'll have to respond with even larger increases next year.
Next year, yeah.
So,
All right, well, just,
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely makes sense in terms of what I'm seeing with the real estate market. It's really,
the big challenge, waterfront properties, and
still going up.
still going up. We started the process at about 80% assessment level. We have 8 sales. All 8 sales are in the 70 to low 80% ratio.
right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to just bring those up just over the threshold required by DOR at 90%.
What was it a couple of years ago when we had that first hit?
We started out in the low 70%.
So we're in the same range?
Yes.
So we're gonna have the same,
And it's,
gonna be a duplicate of 2 years ago.
well, we pushed values last year a little bit.
Was it that?
Little bit more on the waterfronts. That
Oh, no, I
market.
remember hearing about it from the people that
Well,
live on
2 years
water.
ago was the big, it was the first,
Yeah.
2 years ago was like the
Yeah.
correction year, and it
Right.
was, I mean, we had people coming in one after the other.
It's just a phenomena of that market.
they're not
There's
making
no
any
more
more-
waterfront properties.
They're not making any more property to begin with, they're definitely not making any more.
If you look at the days on market, they're virtually
Yeah.
none.
Hours
The
on
ones that
market.
make it to market.
The ones that make it,
Yeah.
in most cases, they're already sold before
Right.
they even hit they never make the market because there's somebody lined up to buy them.
Yes.
So just to
Prepare us.
prepare you, trying to be as modest as we can be, but still meet the DOR guidelines.
Okay.
So overall, I've got to, as I said, I've got to push values about another 2%, 2 to 3% to get to that 95% level, which will position us well next year to be able to come in with a reasonable value increase. I do have, as a matter of new business, an administrative abatement. This is on a double assessment that was discovered. RRC had picked up the Royal Pizza. Royal Pizza was on our tax rolls. I think the name of that pizzeria has changed, same ownership, but 2 bills went out. We want to
Revise it so there's only one.
yeah. So I'm doing that as an administrative abatement. And we have a parcel that's coming out of chapter. And this would be on the Chamberlain property, 48 Highland Road. So I've got a partial lien release on that.
What does that mean, Harold? Is that a release of a portion of the land or a release?
Yeah, there's a building site that they're wanting to, the family's wanting to take out chapter.
So, collect the rollback.
I did have one other thing I wanted to comment on. And that is boat excise. Boat excise bills have gone out, and as has been my experience in other communities, we send out a boatload of bills. 2/3 of them never get paid. We never hear from the folks. From those we do hear from, they've sold the boats years ago in some cases. This really points to a problem, a longstanding problem we've had with the environmental police, the state agency that maintains the database on boats. They just have a very imperfect database. We advise folks that have sold their boat to contact that agency. They will mark the boat as sold, but then it appears on the next year's bill file.
So do you have a suggestion that you'd like us to
Something
address
to-
this, or you just
Something to
making us
ponder. I've advised most of my communities that all of my communities, but only the majority of them have taken up the advice to just forego the revenue until this gets squared away. It's a lot of effort for very little gain. Just to give you some figures, bills totaling $11,275 were issued. To date, we've received payments of $3,826, and that's after 2 rounds of warrants have been issued for the collection of the delinquent accounts. So far, we've abated $706, and we have $6,742 of billed monies that we've heard nothing. Haven't heard from the boat owners. My hunch is that a lot of them have just taken the bill, decided they don't own it, or and then pitched it. Nothing that we have to take up now, but as we move forward next year, we might want to take a look at what we want to do with these boat excise.
Forgive me for not having any knowledge of how boat excise tax works, but what are our options in terms of that? Are we obligated to collect boat excise tax?
Well, there are a number of taxes that we can levy that we've chosen not to. For example, farm animals. There's a farm animal excise tax that back 300 years ago yielded towns actually the lion's share of their tax revenue.
Sure.
At chickens valued at $1.50 a piece. Translate that
sheep
into
everywhere. I'm sure that was
it's pennies that we're trying to collect. We're spending more on postage, so we've opted not to collect boat excise, farm excise on farm equipment. We typically don't assess that. So boat excise is a tax that a community can levy and bill.
So this is similar to what we did on the personal property tax a few years ago. We ourselves can't unilaterally decide not to do this. The town would have to vote that we're going to not collect it. We have to bring it as a warrant article at the town meeting, correct?
This doesn't require a vote of the town meeting per se. I think it's assessor's prerogative. Personal property, on the other hand, is a little bit different. There is a statute.
Okay, so it is. So it's
Yeah.
It's technically in our purview if we say, listen, from a pure business standpoint, we're spending all this time, effort, and energy to collect just under $3,000.
$3,000 may seem like a nice tidy sum, and probably buy some office supplies and what have you, but what's particularly upsetting is these folks come in year after year and they are upset. Why am I getting bills?
Well, it's frustrating because unlike automotive, where there's a pretty clear path to enforcement, right?
Right.
You button that up because you want to keep in good standing, right?
But I think to Harald's point, it's not even a matter of enforcement. These people are going through the process.
Right, but
And
that's the thing is whatever agency, administrative agency is responsible for clearing that out so that they're off the list, they're not doing their part, so the boat remains on the rolls long after it's been gone, right?
Right.
So it's like the reason the automotive one works is because everybody does their piece.
Right.
Right? But
Right.
with this, it just falls off the ledge, so to speak, and it's gone.
And those vehicles remain on the road, and if you don't pay the bill, you get
Yeah.
pulled over and you're in trouble.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, and it functions because all of the agencies responsible for the implementation of that system do their part. With the boat side, that's not happening, so it does beg the question, why are we, first of all, going through that process if we don't have a mechanism by which it's accurate and it's causing frustration, it's causing extra work. I don't even see it really being, we're talking about 11,000 total dollars.
That's the potential. We're only
Right.
collecting 3,600 of it.
Right.
And
So the
that
rest of it
after
is,
multiple, done it, knows it.
I don't really think, I don't know, I'd be okay with getting rid of that excise tax. And I mean, obviously we don't have to make that decision now, but I'm just putting that out there. I think
Well, I think
You
your
know,
initial recommendation was to some degree almost suspend it until the environmental police
until-
get their, you know, if
Yeah.
if something happens at the state level that forces these people to do their job, then we turn around and put it back and say, all right, listen, you're gonna get taxed on it. I mean, people own vehicles, they need to pay excise tax. You own a boat, if you really own it, you should, you know.
Yeah.
I just don't wanna go down the slope of, oh, well, we'll just get rid of it and, you know, I mean, it's.
I took a survey a few years ago of surrounding communities in central Mass that, and how they were handling it. And I would say fully 3/4 of assessors' offices aren't billing boat excise. It's just
Because of the environmental police piece of it, or?
because the database is so inaccurate.
yeah,
It's
and,
not, yeah. It's too cumbersome to do.
Is
And,
it, I mean, there's probably no answer to this, but I mean, is there any response or reason why they're not doing it? Or is it, we're not doing it, nobody really
Well,
pushes the issue,
So
so.
it's kind of like we were talking about with everything getting more complicated. I mean, it's just one
Yeah.
more thing, right? I mean, why they're not doing it, who the hell knows, but
I think Aaron put his finger on it. These are possessions that people haul out a couple of times a year. They don't hit the water or the roadways. There's no policeman out on the lake that's going to pull you over and
Right.
write you a ticket for not having paid your boat excise. There's no teeth.
So,
Yeah.
so I guess my question is it, or maybe it's a combination, is it more that the agency isn't processing this stuff, which may be part of the component, and the other component is of that 7,000 that's not being collected, sounds like maybe 2 or 3 of it is, you know, the agency just not processing and getting them off the rolls. The other ones maybe, I'm just not paying it. You gotta
Right.
do.
yeah, exactly. But if there's no enforcement mechanism, I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
and
What
the other
is our-
side of it is, you know, from a taxpayer perspective, I'm okay getting rid of a tax. Especially if it's one that doesn't generate a whole lot of revenue. It's gonna free up administrative time for the assessor's office. But also, you know, not to get into the philosophical debate, but should we be taxing boats? Just because we can doesn't mean we should.
Shouldn't be taxing anything, Aaron.
I'm leaning that way. Let's start with the
Thinking,
boats.
everyone keep their money, do what you want with it.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm okay with the idea of suspending it. I think that may be more prudent and more cautious and a little more conservative than doing away with it completely. But yeah, maybe what we do is we entertain the idea of suspending it for a fixed amount of time, and we revisit it, you know, at a later time and see if anything's changed on the state level.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we put it on as an agenda item on our next meeting, and we'll make sure it's clear discussion, take a vote to suspend the boat tax. If somebody wants to come up and
Talk
make
for the
their
boat tax.
talks for it, or talk against it,
against
or
it.
whatever, or other, you know, the other boards wanna
Somebody
chime
actually
in.
wants to come to a meeting.
I'm doing what I can to entice someone. So. Yeah, no, I, for a lot of reasons, I think suspending it is probably the prudent thing to do,
Yeah.
but let's put it on as an agenda item before we take that type of a vote. We'll
And that is all I have.
Anyone else have any other old business? Any new business? It is 5:35, and I am adjourning the meeting.